I always knew my parents favored my younger sister, Lauren. It wasn't one specific thing, but a lifetime of little moments, forgotten birthdays, overlooked achievements, and the constant reminders that Lauren comes first. But even I wasn't prepared for this. 3 weeks before my engagement party, the one I had been planning for months, my mom called me, her voice brisk and businesslike, the way it always was when she was about to deliver a command disguised as a suggestion. "Kelly, cancel the engagement party." I nearly dropped my phone. I was standing in my kitchen, halfway through writing my guest list when she said it, and for a second, I thought I had misheard her. "What?" I asked, hoping I had. "Lauren just got promoted. We're throwing her a celebration on that same day." I blinked. Lauren got a promotion. Great for her. But why did that have anything to do with my engagement party? "Mom, are you serious? I've been planning this for weeks." "And Lauren's promotion is a huge deal," she insisted. "Same guests, different reason to celebrate. Just reschedule. It's no big deal." I gripped the edge of the counter, trying to control my rising frustration. No big deal. My engagement, my moment, was something I had been dreaming about for years. "Mom, this is my engagement party. You're really asking me to cancel it because Lauren got a job title upgrade?" Her sigh came through the phone, sharp and impatient. "Don't be selfish, Kelly. Your sister's worked so hard for this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime achievement." I nearly laughed. Getting engaged is also a once-in-a-lifetime achievement. "You don't have to be dramatic," she snapped. "Just move it to another weekend." "No." Silence. I could practically hear her frowning. "Excuse me?" I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to stay calm. "Mom, I love Lauren, but I am not canceling my engagement party." Her tone turned sharp, the way it always did when I didn't fall in line. "This is exactly why Lauren is more successful than you. She thinks about others, not just herself." The words stung, even though I should have been used to them by now. I had heard some version of that my entire life. Lauren is more responsible, Lauren is more considerate, Lauren is more accomplished. But this time, something inside me snapped. "Then maybe you should go to her party and forget about mine." I hung up, and just like that, years of quiet resentment boiled over. As I stood there staring at my phone, memories from my childhood came rushing back. How they forgot my 18th birthday, until Grandma reminded them. How they barely showed up to my college graduation. How my successes were met with polite nods, while Lauren's were celebrated with week-long parties. It was always Lauren first, me second. I squeezed my eyes shut and took a deep breath. Not this time. I wasn't backing down. I wasn't rescheduling. This was my moment, and for once I wasn't going to let them take it from me. The morning after my call with Mom, I woke up determined to move forward with my engagement party and put the drama behind me. Michael and I had worked too hard planning this event, and I refused to let my family bulldoze over it, again, but my mother had other plans. The first sign that this was far from over came in the form of a text from my cousin Julie. "Julie, hey Kelly, just checking in. I heard you and Michael called off the engagement? Are you okay?" I frowned at my phone. "Called off the engagement?" I immediately typed back, "What?" "No, who told you that?" Her response was almost instant. "Julie, Aunt Olivia called my mom last night and said your mom told her the engagement was off." We were all so shocked. A cold wave of anger spread through me. "Mom." I called Julie immediately. "Julie, I have no idea what's going on, but Michael and I are still engaged. The party is still happening." Julie hesitated. "Oh my God, Kelly. Then why would your mom tell everyone otherwise?" I clenched my jaw. I already knew the answer. She was trying to sabotage my engagement party. Since I refused to cancel it willingly, she was making sure no one showed up. "I need your help," I said, my voice shaking with frustration. "Can you spread the word that the engagement party is still happening? I don't want people believing this lie." "Of course," Julie promised. "I'll start making calls now." After I hung up, I sat on the couch, trying to process what had just happened. My own mother was spreading lies to cancel my event. This wasn't just favoritism anymore. This was war. That night, my mother called again. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the best of me. "Kelly, we need to have a family meeting tomorrow," she said, her tone brisk. I scoffed. "A family meeting? About what?" "About this childish behavior of yours." I gritted my teeth. You mean about me refusing to cancel my engagement party? Kelly, stop acting like a victim, she sighed. Your sister's promotion is a huge milestone, and yet here you are making everything about you. Mom, it is about me. This is my engagement. Why is that so hard for you to accept? We'll talk tomorrow, she said, ignoring me completely. Be there at 6. Then she hung up. I slammed my phone onto the couch. Michael looked up from his laptop. Let me guess. More insanity? They want me to come over for a family meeting, I said, air quoting the words. Michael frowned. Do you really think that's a good idea? No, but I want to hear what ridiculous excuse they're going to come up with next. The next evening, I arrived at my parents' house, already bracing myself for the worst. Dad was seated in his usual armchair, skimming through the news on his tablet, like this was just another night. Mom was perched on the couch, arms crossed, while Lauren sat beside her, looking annoyed rather than guilty. Kelly, sit down, Mom said in that voice she used when she was about to teach me a lesson. I stayed standing. So what's this about? I asked, even though I already knew. Mom exhaled like I was the most difficult person in the world. Kelly, you need to stop being stubborn. Your engagement party is causing unnecessary conflict in the family. It would be so much easier for everyone if you just rescheduled. I crossed my arms. Easier for who? You, Lauren? Lauren, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. Kelly, this is ridiculous. You're acting like I stole your wedding date or something. I got promoted. I deserve to celebrate that. Then celebrate it on literally any other day, I shot back. Why does it have to be on my engagement party date? Because it's the only weekend that works for everyone, Mom snapped. Oh, really? I let out a humorless laugh. So that's why you told everyone my engagement was called off? Dad finally put his tablet down. Kelly, don't be dramatic. Your mother was just trying to make things easier. Easier? I repeated, my voice rising. By spreading lies to my family so no one would come to my party. Mom stiffened. It was a misunderstanding. I stared at her. A misunderstanding? You expect me to believe you accidentally told people my engagement was over? Kelly, Lauren sighed, like I was the unreasonable one. You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't ask for this to happen. But the fact is, people are more excited about my party than yours. It's not my fault. My stomach twisted. There it was. She knew what she was doing. Mom gave a sympathetic sigh and turned to me. Kelly, honey, we love you. But you have to admit, Lauren's party is just more important right now. I felt the air leave my lungs. More important, not equal. Not both celebrations matter, just more important. I looked at my parents, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, then at Lauren, who had never once thought about how this affected me. And I realized something. I would never win. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, they would always put Lauren first. I took a slow, deep breath. Okay. Mom's face brightened. So you'll reschedule? I smiled, a small, tight-lipped smile. No, I'm done with this conversation. I'm done trying to make you see my side. The party is still happening, and you can either show up or don't. Lauren rolled her eyes. Kelly? No, Lauren, I interrupted. You want to be the star? Fine. You can have them. I turned toward the door. Where are you going? Mom called after me. Home, I said, walking out without looking back. As I stepped into my car, something inside me shifted. I wasn't sad. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was done. Done fighting for their approval. Done trying to be part of a family that would never see me as enough. And for the first time, I felt free. For a few days, things were quiet. Too quiet. After walking out of that so-called family meeting, I expected some kind of retaliation. But no calls came, no texts, nothing. I should have known better. It was a week before my engagement party when I got a call from the venue. At first, I thought it was just a confirmation. But the second I heard the manager's voice, my stomach dropped. Ms. Kelly, I just wanted to follow up about the cancellation request for your event this weekend. I gripped my phone tighter. Cancellation request? What cancellation request? Your mother called yesterday and said the event was off. We tried reaching out for confirmation, but we didn't hear back, so we went ahead and processed it. I felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath me. No. No, no. My event is not cancelled. My voice shook with rage. Do not cancel anything. I will be there with my guests. Oh, okay, the manager said hesitantly. I'll make sure everything is back on schedule. I hung up and immediately called my mother. The moment she picked up, I unleashed. You canceled my engagement party. Are you insane? Mom didn't even try to deny it. I just made an executive decision, Kelly. It was the best thing for the family. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Best for who, Mom? Certainly not me. Well, I didn't think you'd want to go through with it when everyone's going to be at Lauren's event instead, she said casually, as if she hadn't just tried to erase my engagement. I clenched my teeth. I told you, I'm not canceling, and I don't care if I have 5 guests or 50, my party is happening. Kelly, don't be so dramatic. You'll have plenty of other celebrations. A wedding, a baby shower someday. Oh, shut up, Mom. The words burst out before I could stop them. There was silence. Excuse me? She finally said, her voice sharp. I took a breath, my heart pounding. No, I'm done listening to this nonsense. You have done everything in your power to ruin this moment for me. You lied to our family, tried to turn them against me, and now you actually canceled my venue behind my back? You're overreacting. No, Mom. I'm waking up. I paced the room, my blood boiling. All my life, I have let you and Dad push me aside for Lauren. I have tried to be the bigger person, to be patient, to wait my turn. But my turn never comes, does it? Kelly, we have always loved you. No, you've tolerated me. There's a difference. Mom sighed heavily. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I let out a cold laugh. No, you're not. You're just sorry I finally called you out on it. I took a shaky breath. You know what? I don't care anymore. You, Dad, Lauren. You can all stay in your little bubble where she's the golden child, and I'm just the afterthought. But I'm done playing my role in it. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't need you. Another silence. Are you seriously willing to walk away from your family over this? Mom asked, her voice icy now. Yes. Her voice softened, taking on that manipulative sweetness she always used when trying to guilt me. Kelly, sweetheart, think about what you're doing. Family is forever. Then maybe you should have treated me like I was part of it. I hung up. I blocked her number. Then I blocked Dad and Lauren. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. With my mother officially out of my life, I focused on fixing the damage she had done. Michael and I spent the next 48 hours calling guests, confirming the venue, and making sure everyone knew the party was still happening. And something incredible happened. Word spread. Fast. People were furious when they found out what my mother had done. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even some of Lauren's own friends, started pulling out of her event and RSVPing to mine instead. Julie called me the night before. Kelly, your party is going to be packed. Everyone's talking about how messed up this whole thing is. Good, I said simply. I didn't care if it was out of pity or support. People were showing up for me, and that's all that mattered. The night of the engagement party, I walked into the venue expecting to feel nervous. But as soon as I stepped inside, all I felt was relief. The room was filled with people who actually cared about me. My friends, Michael's family, cousins who had reached out to say they were sorry for believing my mother's lies. I felt seen in a way I never had before. Michael found me at the center of the room and took my hands. You okay? He asked. I smiled. I am now. The night was perfect. Laughter, music, love. It was everything I had hoped for. And my parents and Lauren, they didn't show up. I knew they wouldn't. The next morning, my phone rang. Mom. I didn't answer. I didn't need to hear her voice to know she was furious. Lauren had spent her big night with barely anyone at her party, while mine had turned into the event of the season. I had won. But the real victory, I didn't care. I wasn't seeking their approval anymore. For the first time in my life, I was free. And that was worth more than anything they had ever taken from me. The morning after the engagement party, I woke up feeling different, lighter. For the first time in my life, I had stood up to my family. I had drawn the line, and I hadn't backed down. The weight of their expectations, their manipulations, their endless comparisons to Lauren, it was gone. But of course it wasn't over. I knew my mother well enough to expect retaliation, and she didn't disappoint. By noon, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Mom, 5 missed calls. Dad, 1 voicemail. Lauren, 3 texts. I ignored them all. Then Julie called. "Kelly, you need to hear this," she said, her voice urgent. "What now?" I sighed. "Your mom is telling everyone you banned her from your engagement party. She's making herself the victim, saying she wanted to come, but you wouldn't let her." I nearly dropped my coffee. "Are you kidding me? She literally tried to cancel my venue behind my back." "I know," Julie said, "but you know how she is. She's calling relatives, crying about how you broke her heart, and how you're the one tearing the family apart." I ran a hand through my hair, forcing myself to stay calm. I shouldn't have been surprised. My mother had spent years rewriting reality to fit her own narrative, but this time I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I didn't call her back. I drove to her house. If she wanted to lie about me, she was going to have to do it to my face. When I walked in, she was sitting at the dining table with Dad, sipping tea like nothing had happened. Lauren stood by the window, scrolling through her phone, completely unbothered. Mom looked up, feigning surprise. "Oh, Kelly, to what do we owe the pleasure?" I crossed my arms. "Cut the act. I know what you've been telling people." She placed her cup down with a clink. "I have no idea what you're talking about." I let out a sharp laugh. "Really? Because according to half our relatives, I'm the villain who banned you from my engagement party." Dad exhaled dramatically. "Kelly, do we really need to do this?" "Yes, we do." I turned back to Mom. "You tried to cancel my party. You spread lies about Michael and me breaking up. And when none of that worked, you painted yourself as the victim." Mom had the nerve to look offended. "I only did what was best for this family," she snapped. "No," I shot back. "You did what was best for Lauren." Lauren finally looked up. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "Not everything is about me." "Isn't it?" I said. "Because from where I'm standing, everything I've ever done has been second to you." Lauren rolled her eyes. "God, Kelly, you're so jealous. That did it. I had taken their insults, their dismissals, their gaslighting for years, but I wasn't doing it anymore. You know what, Lauren? I used to be jealous. I used to wonder why I was never enough for them. Why, no matter how hard I worked, you were always the one who got the praise, the love, the attention. But now I finally get it." I turned to Mom and Dad. "It was never about who was better. It was about control. You knew I wouldn't follow your script, so you poured everything into Lauren instead. And I let you make me feel small, but not anymore." Mom stood up. "Kelly, if you walk out of this house—" "I'm not walking," I interrupted. "I'm done." I looked at Dad. He hadn't said much, but I could see it in his eyes. He agreed with Mom. He always did. "You chose Lauren," I said, "and now I'm choosing me." I turned on my heel and walked out. Mom didn't call after me. Lauren didn't apologize. Dad didn't try to stop me. And for the first time in my life, I didn't care. Cutting ties with my parents and Lauren was painful, but it was also the best thing I had ever done. I focused on my wedding. Michael and I threw ourselves into planning, making it exactly the way we wanted, without my mother's interference. His parents were incredible, stepping in where mine had failed. His mom helped me pick my dress. His dad walked me down the aisle. And on my wedding day, as I stood before my friends and chosen family, I realized something. I hadn't lost anything. I had gained everything. I had people who actually loved me, not because I fit into their mold, but because of who I truly was. 3 months after the wedding, I got a text from Mom. "Mom, I hope you're happy. You broke this family apart." I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. No response. No explanation. Just nothing. Because I didn't owe her a damn thing. I put my phone down, curled into Michael's arms, and let myself be happy. For the first time in my life, I was free. Walking away from my family wasn't easy. For years, I had believed that if I just tried harder, if I just proved myself, I would finally earn the love and respect I had craved since childhood. But now, standing on the other side of that battle, I finally understood the truth. Some people will never love you the way you need them to, and that's okay, because I had learned to love myself. In the months after my wedding, My life transformed in ways I never expected. Michael and I moved into a home of our own, a cozy, sunlit house with a backyard big enough for summer barbecues, and maybe, one day, children. We filled it with laughter, with real love, with the warmth that my childhood home had always lacked. For the first time, I felt safe. Not just physically, but emotionally. I had people in my life who chose me, not because of obligation, but because they truly cared. Michael's parents treated me like their own daughter. Aunt Julie remained a constant source of support, and my friends, my real family, stood by my side, reminding me that love isn't about blood, but about who shows up for you. And as I thrived in this new chapter of my life, my parents' absence became less of a wound and more of a relief. I no longer had to live under their impossible standards, no longer had to compare myself to Lauren, no longer had to fight for a love that should have been given freely. I was free. One afternoon, nearly a year after my wedding, I was at a cafe with Michael when my phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. I hesitated before answering. "Hello?" There was a pause, then a voice I hadn't heard in a long time. "Kelly, it's Dad." I froze. I hadn't heard from him since I walked out of that house. "What do you want?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. He exhaled, and for the first time in my life, I heard something in his tone I never expected. Regret. "Your mother and Lauren, they still won't admit they did anything wrong," he said. "But I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I should have stood up for you." A lump formed in my throat, but I swallowed it down. "You should have," I said quietly. Another pause. "I miss you, kid." I glanced at Michael across the table. He gave me a questioning look, and I smiled softly, shaking my head. "I miss the idea of having a father," I admitted. "But I don't miss the way you made me feel small." His breath hitched, like my words had struck something deep. "Is there any way we can fix this?" I thought about it, thought about all the times I had tried before, thought about how much peace I had found without them. "I don't know," I admitted. "Maybe one day, but for now, I'm happy, and I won't let anyone take that from me again." There was a long silence. Then he sighed. "I understand." I ended the call. Michael reached for my hand. "Are you okay?" I squeezed his fingers and smiled. "Yeah," I said. "I really am." A lesson in love. I never reconciled with my mother. Lauren and I never became close. And that was okay. Because some relationships aren't meant to be fixed. Some bridges need to be burned to protect your own peace. I spent so much of my life chasing after a family that never truly valued me. But in letting them go, I found something better. A real family. One that chose me. As I stood in the backyard of my home one evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Michael wrapped an arm around my shoulders. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. I smiled. "How lucky I am." He kissed the top of my head. "Yeah, you are," he teased. I laughed, nudging him playfully. I had spent so much time believing I wasn't enough. But standing here, surrounded by love, I finally understood the truth. I was enough. I always had been, and I always would be.